A new force is emerging. The traditional power structures are being challenged by a coalition of nations that seek to redefine the global order. The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are challenging the established order. These countries, diverse in culture and geography, they offer a different vision, a multipolar world with a more equitable distribution of power. This vision stands in contrast to the unipolar dominance of the West, advocating for a system where multiple centers of power coexist and collaborate. BRICS nations are experiencing rapid growth. Cities are expanding, financial markets are thriving, and innovation is at the forefront of their development strategies. They are wielding increasing influence on the world stage. From diplomatic negotiations to international trade agreements, the BRICS countries are making their presence felt. This rise of BRICS has profound implications. It signals a shift in the global power dynamics that have been in place for decades. It could reshape global power dynamics. The influence of traditional Western powers may wane as new alliances and partnerships form. It could redefine the global economy. Trade routes, investment flows, and economic policies may all be influenced by the growing clout of the BRICS nations. It could usher in a new era of international relations. Diplomatic strategies and geopolitical alliances will need to adapt to this new reality. Today, we will explore the rise of BRICS. We will trace their journey from emerging markets to global powerhouses. We will delve into its history, its goals, and its challenges. Understanding the motivations and aspirations of these nations is crucial to comprehending their impact. The BRICS nations are not just economic entities. They represent a shift in how global governance might evolve. And we will ask, is BRICS the future of global power? As we navigate this changing landscape, the answer to this question will shape the world of tomorrow. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on our in-depth global affairs videos. Let us know in the comments. Could BRICS really rival Western dominance? The story of BRICS begins in the early 2000s. It was a time of significant economic shifts and transformations. The global economic landscape was evolving rapidly, and new players were emerging on the scene. The world was witnessing the rise of emerging markets. These markets were characterized by their dynamic growth and increasing influence on the global stage. Investors and analysts were paying close attention. Brazil, Russia, India, and China stood out. These countries were not only large in terms of population, but also rich in natural resources and human capital. Their economies were growing at an unprecedented rate. They boasted large populations, abundant resources, and rapid economic growth. Analysts saw their potential. The economic activities in these countries were diverse, ranging from industrial production to agriculture and services. The acronym BRIC was born. It was coined by a financial analyst to represent the collective potential of these four nations. The term quickly gained traction in economic and political circles. In 2006, the BRIC leaders met on the sidelines of a UN General Assembly. This meeting was more than just a diplomatic formality. It was a strategic move to discuss mutual interests and future cooperation. This marked a turning point. The discussions were fruitful, and the leaders recognized the potential benefits of forming a more structured alliance. The acronym became an alliance. What started as a term to describe emerging markets evolved into a formal grouping with shared goals and objectives. The group's initial focus was economic cooperation. They aimed to leverage their collective strengths to enhance trade, investment, and economic growth. They aimed to reform global financial institutions. The BRIC nations felt that existing institutions like the World Bank and IMF did not adequately represent their interests. They wanted a greater voice for developing nations. The BRIC countries advocated for more inclusive and equitable global governance structures. The addition of South Africa in 2010 solidified the group's stature. With South Africa's inclusion, the group became known as BRICS, representing a broader spectrum of emerging economies. BRICS now represented a diverse group of continents and cultures. This diversity was seen as a strength, bringing different perspectives and experiences to the table. This expansion signaled BRICS's ambition to be more than just an economic bloc. They began to address a wide range of global issues, from climate change to security. It aimed to be a geopolitical force. The BRICS nations sought to influence global policies and promote a multipolar world order. The journey from acronym to alliance was swift. In just a few years, BRICS transformed from a concept into a powerful coalition. It reflected the changing global landscape. The rise of BRICS was a testament to the shifting balance of power in the world economy. The West was grappling with economic crises. The 2008 financial crisis exposed vulnerabilities in Western economies and highlighted the resilience of emerging markets. The BRICS nations, meanwhile, were on the rise. They continued to invest in infrastructure, education, and technology, driving their economic growth. The world was taking notice. The BRICS nations were no longer just emerging markets. They were key players on the global stage, shaping the future of the world economy. From the outset, BRICS nations shared common goals. They sought greater representation in global institutions like the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. They believed these institutions favored developed nations. Furthermore, they aimed to promote South-South cooperation. This meant fostering trade and investment among developing countries. They wanted to reduce their dependence on the West. However, their early years were not without challenges. The member nations had diverse political systems and economic models. Finding common ground was not always easy. Despite these hurdles, BRICS managed to make its presence felt. It became a platform for dialogue and cooperation. It gave a voice to the concerns of the developing world. The world was witnessing the emergence of a new power bloc. In recent years, BRICS has taken steps to expand its membership. Over 40 countries have expressed interest in joining. This includes nations from the Middle East, Africa, and South America. This potential expansion reflects the growing appeal of BRICS. Many countries see it as an alternative to Western-dominated institutions. They are drawn to its vision of a multipolar world. However, BRICS faces a dilemma. Rapid expansion could dilute its identity and purpose. It could also create new challenges in reaching consensus. The group is treading carefully. It is exploring different forms of engagement. This includes dialogue partnerships and observer status. BRICS is seeking to expand its influence without compromising its core values. One of the most ambitious proposals within BRICS is the creation of a common currency. This idea has been gaining traction as member countries seek to strengthen their economic ties and reduce dependency on the US dollar. This currency would be used for trade and investment among member states, facilitating smoother transactions and potentially lowering the costs associated with currency exchange. It would challenge the dominance of the US dollar in global finance, a dominance that has been unchallenged for decades. The idea is driven by several factors, including the desire for greater economic independence and stability. BRICS nations are wary of the dollar's volatility, which can have significant impacts on their economies. Fluctuations in the dollar can lead to unpredictable economic conditions, making long-term planning difficult. They are also concerned about the US's ability to impose sanctions through its control of the dollar-based financial system. This control gives the US significant leverage over other countries, which BRICS nations find concerning. A BRICS currency could reduce reliance on the dollar, providing a buffer against these economic and political pressures. It could also enhance the group's economic sovereignty, allowing them to make decisions that are more aligned with their own interests, rather than being influenced by external forces. However, Creating a new global reserve currency is a complex undertaking. It involves not just economic considerations, but also political and logistical challenges. It requires deep economic integration and political trust among participating nations. This level of cooperation is difficult to achieve, especially given the diverse political and economic landscapes of BRICS countries. It remains to be seen whether BRICS can overcome these challenges. The success of this initiative will depend on the willingness of member states to work together and make the necessary compromises. The outcome of this debate will have significant implications for the future of global finance. If successful, a BRICS currency could reshape the global economic order, reducing the dominance of the US dollar and creating a more multipolar financial system. The rise of BRICS is part of a broader shift in global power dynamics. The post-Cold War era of unipolarity is fading. A multipolar world is emerging. BRICS nations are asserting themselves on the world stage. They are pursuing independent foreign policies. They are forming new alliances and partnerships. This has led to increased competition and tensions with the West. The Ukraine war, for example, has highlighted the growing rift between Russia and the West. This has put other BRICS members in a difficult position. Despite these tensions, BRICS remains committed to dialogue and cooperation. It sees itself as a bridge between the developed and developing world. Its goal is not to replace the existing order, but to reform it. Despite its growing influence, BRICS faces internal challenges. The member nations have different political systems, economic models, and foreign policy priorities. There are also historical tensions and rivalries between some members. For example, India and China have a long-standing border dispute. These differences can make it difficult for BRICS to present a united front. Reaching consensus on key issues can be a slow and arduous process. However, BRICS has shown a remarkable ability to manage these differences. It has prioritized dialogue and cooperation over confrontation. The members recognize that they have more to gain by working together than by pursuing their own narrow interests. What do you think? Can BRICS rival the US and the West on the global stage? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with others who are curious about global power dynamics.